Hey everybody, TJ here from Group C Workshop and
Mark Quimby, Warrior Works Training, and behind the camera some dude named Will. We found him on the side of the road on the way up here.
Facts. So basically what we're doing is we're doing a comparison. P365, a common platform that most people have adopted, and it's, you know, with the firing control unit being serialized, it allows you a ton of different options. So today, what we're going to be doing specifically is we have one single slide that we're going to be testing. It's actually Will's behind the camera. We're going to be comparing
OEM
P365,
Wilson Combat,
and lastly, myself. I work with Mechanitech holsters a pretty good bit, and they have designed a P365 lower with Juggernaut Tactical, and it is, you know, a standard aluminum grip, a little bit heavier, but still stock factory P365 length. Apologies, and from there, we'll just keep you updated.
Sure. And I think one of the really cool things about this, and you'll see as we compare some of these different grip modules. So here, this is OEM grip module. Obviously, it's got some different components in it. A lot of people are running the Wilson Combat, which is a little bit fatter. It gets a little bit better grip in most people's hands. This happens to be mine, and you'll see that I've got a thumb ramp on the bottom of it, just to kind of help with that offhand support grip. And what they've done with theirs is integrated that into the grip module, and it's super aggressive, so really interested to see how that pans out. We do want to compare everything really sort of officially with Will's upper, and we'll throw this probably in and out. This is my upper, just to compare some brands on the various grip modules. I'll be shooting, those of you that are watching this on Warrior Works, this will be cross-posted with TJ's channel. Y'all kind of know my background. For those of you who are new to me, I've been a firearms instructor for 20-something years. Ground combat in the Marine Corps, and have numerous disciplines at the law enforcement level teaching firearms, and so hopefully I'm a competent enough shooter that I can give some empirical feedback on this, although it is going to be relatively subjective. With anything we're talking about not functionality, there's no doubt in any of our minds that this is all going to function fine. I would be very surprised if we have any issues there, but certainly, you know, feel is relatively subjective, but how it, you know, feels the grip, there is some, you know, objectivity to that. So without further ado, I'll run a few rounds with each grip module, and then we'll pass the guns around, get everybody's feedback. So at least if it's going to be anecdotal, you have at least 3 opinions to go with. So here we go. I thought before we got started, we'd make Will a real person and let him run through some of the components on the gun that'll kind of go back and forth between the different lowers.
All right, so essentially we have the complete FDES Works 3.0 upper with their 3.7-inch ported barrel and slide, along with some Tyrant Machine CNC controls, because I like them.
And it's super dope. So tell you what, why don't we, we'll pass this off. We'll get, each one of us will shoot, let's say 10 rounds through each grip module. We'll introduce each one as we go, and then we'll give our thoughts at the end. All right, so Will's gonna start with the gun he just described, with the OEM grip module from SIG. We'll run 10 rounds, sit here at 7 yards, and just give your feedback on kind of how it feels running it from an OEM standpoint. Group looks good. Obviously the gun works, so talk us through it. I mean, obviously this is not the grip module you typically run, right? You're running a Wilson Combat, I believe, so.
I typically run a Wilson Combat with the tungsten weights added into it, so this perfectly good out of the box. But with where I like to run my hands, you can feel this skinny little guy walking around, and I'm not the best shot, but it does sort of show. That's not what I'm accustomed to running.
All right, so here's, oh wait, never mind, he's up here.
Oh yeah, hi.
He's up here. Me and Will are down here, TJ's up here. All right, TJ, so I know you normally don't run a 365. You're a Canic guy, but try not to hold that against our selection of firearms here. Go ahead and load your 10 rounds up and just talk us through what you think.
So to Mark's point, I typically run something different. Keep in mind that I have very large hands and unfamiliar with the gun, but let's get our first 10 in.
TJ's arms are so long, he's shooting at 5 yards instead of 7.
Valid point. Okay, first initial thoughts. Recoil impulse is fine, but typically I run something a little heavier on the lower end. I mean, it feels like a P365. Out of the box, I mean, given we're not running the same entire upper scenario that we would out of a P365, but I'm interested personally to see how a little bit heavier weight in the lower end of my hands will feel. And yeah, I guess we'll move on from there.
All right, so I used to run a P365 every day for a very, very long time, years and years and years. I've since changed my EDC, but I'm super familiar with the platform, and immediately putting this OEM grip module in my hand, it feels tiny. And for some people, that may be a very good thing. If you have small hands, like maybe that feels better to you, but instantly I'm like, man, this feels like the reason why I changed to a Wilson Combat, which we'll get into in a little while. But I'll go ahead and run 10 rounds through it and give you my thoughts. All right, so two things. Initially, like I said, it felt super skinny. It felt skinny when I was shooting it. And I have a tendency sometimes for my left hand to want to break off when I'm shooting, and that was beginning to happen. I expected it, so I probably clamped down on my left hand more than I normally would. The grip is fine. Like TJ said, the recoil impulse is really good. I mean, obviously it's a ported gun, so you would expect it to be a little bit better than normal. Will talked about kind of where his hand hit. I will say, like, Will, me and your aftermarket slide stop are not friends right now. I am bleeding my own blood. So that's a thing. But I'm interested to go back to what I'm used to, a Wilson Combat, and compare it. So we'll roll through that next. So the next one up is going to be the Wilson Combat grip module. This has the tungsten weights in it. It also has a tactical development wing. Kind of gives you a thumbs forward place to put, a gas pedal type setup. That's integrated in the McKinney Juggernaut tactical grip module that we're going to compare next. So I'm really interested to see the difference in feel, not only in the increased width with the Wilson Combat and increased weight, but also compare the different thumb wedges. So Will, if you will it up. Wilbur. So, comparisons to the OEM.
All right, this is much more similar to what I'm used to. I run a P365 XL grip module. This fits my hand just the way I wanted to. I am left-handed, but wanted to run this right-handed to get full benefit of the thumb ledge. And we're making progress to things that suit my taste. I've got better control, kept my shots in where I wanted them. I'm about as happy as I could be.
Similar setup, kind of to what I run, but more aggressive grip texture. Let's see. Okay, so initial thoughts. With my size of hand, the grip texture, being that aggressive, is definitely a plus. I, like Mark, also typically run a wing, so that's definitely more comfortable. It is definitely an upgrade, especially the weight in the bottom, but I'm interested to see what moving towards aluminum is going to do for us. So,
all right, so obviously this feels super familiar to me. I'm holding my gun. Obviously the upper's a little different, but let's just run it and I'll give you my thoughts. So like instantly felt more comfortable, probably even ran it a little faster than I did the OEM. It kind of occurred to me as I was going. Love the place. It feels super familiar to have my thumb on something. In fact, I don't feel like the controls would have chewed me up as bad even on your controls, because with that thumb ledge, I'm kind of creating a little bit of pressure, which kind of just a little bit of a gap where those controls ride. But in general, TJ mentioned it, the weight isn't significant. Like if you hold the two side by side, it's not gonna feel like a completely different gun, but it does balance a little different with the weights in the grip module. And what I really immediately like, way better than the OEM, is the width. Like you're not getting a ton more distance here to feel the hand, but this makes it so much easier for me to really lock my support hand against polymer there, instead of it feeling like it's just riding on my own fingernails. So immediately had a much better grip, felt like I could run the gun faster. Obviously we're running the gun slow doing this, so we can kind of really pay attention, but I think the cadence just sort of naturally picked up because I'm finding the dot faster. It's not moving around in my hand as much as it would otherwise, and obviously it's pretty spicy being a ported gun, so the recoil kind of settles down pretty quick anyway. But immediately well worth the 45 bucks or whatever it is, not counting the tungsten, in my opinion, to go from the OEM to a Wilson Combat. All right, the coup de grace, Will. This is the Gucciest thing we got to compare. So let's see. So what you think? I mean, it looks dope. It looks
awesome.
amazing.
Full disclosure, I'm a little less than impressed that the flashlight almost walked off in less than 10 rounds.
Ooh, is that on us or is that on?
That could be on us.
I think, you know what I bet it is we're running this as though it's a standard SIG, and I wonder
on
if this
an
is
M13.
Yep. So good to know. Way to find out in the real world that we probably should have looked at that first.
Everything else, stellar. The weight is great. Thumb ledge being ambidextrous is a big plus to me as a left-handed shooter.
That's a great point. I don't know that I've ever even seen a left-handed thumb ramp, available on the aftermarket. It may very well be. I don't look for left-handed stuff.
Why I don't run one is they're next to impossible to find. So thoroughly enjoyed the experience, aside from my own error.
Sweet.
all right. I can tell you already something I do enjoy. That group was better. Man, first thoughts for me. It's a lot more evenly weighted. I don't feel the dominance in the weight one way or the other. The grip texture is, I want something to tear my hands up personally. So outside of skateboarding grip or anything, it's really aggressive. I'm also left-handed. I just shoot right-handed the correct way. And I can understand the appeal of it being on both sides. For me personally, that was a lot better shooting experience. It didn't feel like a polymer, carry gun. That outclasses the length of that barrel for sure, for me. So I'm impressed personally. So, yeah, sweet.
All right, so my turn. Again, like immediately it's bigger in every dimension. I'm not a left-handed shooter. I do shoot left-handed for like classes and stuff when you're teaching. But what's great about having an ambidextrous thumb ledge is that it becomes an index point for your finger straighten off the trigger for a right-handed shooter. So you could imagine if you're in sort of a compact, hey, either I've drawn and fired, I'm not sure if I should go to the holster, or I've drawn and the impetus to fire is not there yet. This gives me a very secure place. I can even put downward pressure and it's not just slipping off and kind of could find itself in the trigger guard. So I do like that. But let's run some rounds and see what it's really like. It's a completely different gun. I mean, like it's, as a person who has tens of thousands, and that's not hyperbole, tens of thousands of rounds through a P365, this is now a completely different gun. So if you have ran a P365 and it's like, it just doesn't feel right in my hands, totally legitimate point. Clearly it's a very popular firearm, so I think there's not a ton of people who just get their hands on one and don't like it. However, this is a game changer. In fact, if you'll bear with me, let me grab a couple of rounds. There is something I want to try. So I'm gonna just put 5 rounds into it. The grip texture is just aggressive enough. Like I want a grip texture that's just aggressive enough that my hand's not sliding, but if I was to carry concealed without a t-shirt between myself and I carry appendix, I don't want it to grind my stomach up. And I think they've really nailed this. The milling of the texture is incredibly like lateral movement. There's tons of texture there, but it's not like poking out serrations that would eat you up. But they've done such a good job with the thumb wrap that I almost feel like you could run this with just your support hand. There's so much leverage. There's so much leverage on that thumb wrap, and I just want to try something. So I've just got my offhand. Obviously, I'm not across my fingertips here, so it's a modified, grip with just what would be my offhand. But I'm just going to run the trigger on this hand, not put my hand against the gun at all, and I'm fairly confident. As you can see, like I'm not using this hand to help grip the firearm. I'm fairly confident I can control a group just like this. That's wild. Like that's wild. That was a single hand, offhand grip. I was only running the trigger with this hand, and my thumb never moved. Like that's how much additional grip the geometry of this is giving you beyond a standard P365. The Wilson Combat that I ran first, we all ran prior to this one. Yes, it has a thumb ramp, but this is orders of magnitude better. Like the geometry of this is perfect. I look at it and I'm a little concerned, like is this gonna work in every holster? I don't know. If you're running Kydex though, the reality is like the holster I run mine in with that aftermarket thumb wrap isn't designed for the thumb wrap. It's called a hair dryer. Just heat the Kydex up, get it in and out. But in the hands, this is absolutely magnificent. I don't know how much this costs, but it's worth whatever it is.
Also keep in mind here that like, for people who do want to buy this module, you can get it through McKinney, and whenever you do order it from them, they do supply a non-light bearing holster. So that's also something that whenever you do order one from them / Juggernaut, that you do get that. But I'm impressed.
Incredible.